Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins in 18th century Paris. Jean-Baptiste Grenouille is born in a dreary slum, to a fish vendor who works at a wet market there. It was not the first time that she had given birth at work. Grenouille could not even breathe when he was born, so she gives up on him and goes back to her profession, but she is executed for abandoning the baby. As soon as he detects the putrid odor coming from the moist market, Grenouille lets out a loud yell. Since that time, the smells in his life have been intimately connected together, grows up in an orphanage, and has a difficult existence. He is particularly obsessed with odors, unconcerned about how strange he appears to other orphans. Everything in nature has its unique aroma which interests him: wood, fruits, leaves, and even water. Grenouille is sold to a tanner at the age of 13 because the orphanage owner considers him a burden, who is killed by some robbers. Life isn't getting any better. Grenouille puts in more than 10 hours of labor every day. He has a dream of crossing the river one day, so that he might learn more about the world of aroma. His first journey to Paris, during which he helps transport leather with the tanner, would prove to be formative for the rest of his life. There are many different aromas to be found in the bustling town, including those of the soldiers, the merchants, and the horses. However, Grenouille is most drawn to the perfumes worn by women from more affluent social classes. One day, Grenouille is fascinated by an exceptionally seductive perfume that combines hormones in its composition. A young woman with chestnut hair and a set of innocent-looking eyes leads him to the source of the odor, thanks to his extraordinary sense of smell. He can't get enough of her scent, which is so amazing that words can't do it justice. He relentlessly chases her, while greedily inhaling the scent of her body. Later on, he frightens the timid girl by pressing his face into her hand, and then licking the ball-shaped palm of her hand in a strange manner. Grenouille chases after her smelly hormones, and ultimately catches up with her in the alleyway. He bites down on her full lips, so she won't make any noise, but inadvertently suffocates her in the process. To his utter astonishment, the delicious scent she exhaled vanishes, as it fades away along with her breath. He undresses her so that he can have a better smell. However, the scent disappears in a short amount of time. He makes the decision to learn how to store scents. Some years later, the Italian perfumer Baldini, who now works out of Paris, comes up with a couple of fantastic smell combinations, but his creativity, though, dries up as he gets older. Grenouille takes the chance that arises when he is delivering leather to Baldini, to work on enhancing the scent of love and soul, which was a well-known fragrance in the past. As a result of Baldini's astonishment at Grenouille's exceptional olfactory perception, he pays 50 francs to the tanner in order to acquire Grenouille. After the deal, the tanner gets knocked over by a carriage that is traveling at a high speed on the bridge and drowns. Those who turn their backs on Grenouille appear to have sealed their own deaths by their actions. Grenouille gets on the job at the perfume studio. In addition to expanding his knowledge of perfume, he breathes fresh life into the perfumer's business, by developing some remarkable new formulations. Baldini explains that all perfumes are harmonies of 12 individual scents, and may contain a theoretical 13th scent. One night, Grenouille has a dream where he encounters the girl again, and takes pleasure in the aroma of her body and hormones. When he wakes up the next morning, he approaches Baldini with a request to teach him how to transform scents into perfume, and in exchange, he promises to create the most effective formulas for him. Baldini is totally on board with this. They receive rose baskets they had ordered. Grenouille is given the opportunity to learn how to preserve perfumes by Baldini. They employ steam distillation to extract the aroma from the roses, which involves placing the roses in a distiller. Baldini is particularly pleased with Grasse because it is recognized as the town of perfumes and is home to some of the finest perfumers in the world. Even late at night, rose essential oil is still being purified. The following morning, Grenouille finds a cat, along with iron links, glass shards, copper slabs, and even more copper slabs. He works his way through each of them one at a time till well into the night. But he doesn't get refined oil. As soon as Baldini hears Grenouille's distressing cry, he leaps out of bed and rushes downstairs to investigate the situation. He tells Grenouille in a furious tone that the odor of no living thing can be improved through the process of distillation. As a result of the harshness of the truth, Grenouille is brought to his knees. His entire existence revolves around the pursuit of enchanting aromas. He is aware at this time, possessing a girl's scent is equivalent to possessing the girl herself. If he had known how to maintain the body odor of the girl with chestnut hair, it would not have perished along with her. Grenouille is in critical condition, and seeks Baldini for advice on how to keep her human odor. In response, Baldini tells him that he can get knowledge of the mysterious enfleurage procedure in Grasse. His remarks restore Grenouille's hope, and he makes a full recovery in a little over a week. In exchange for his release, Baldini requires that he provide him with the recipes for the 100 finest formulations before departing for Grasse. Baldini is in the midst of the most incredible day of his life. He is resting comfortably in bed, clutching the notebook with the formulae for the top 100. However, he continues to sleep through the entire fall of the structure, and never awakens. Grasse is a long way away. Grenouille is mesmerized by each scent that emanates from the boundless wilderness, and he can't pull his thoughts away from them. He is so worn out that he decides to sleep in a secluded cave. When Grenouille wakes up in the dank cave, he takes a whiff of himself, and is astonished to find that he does not emit any odor from his body. Even worms have their own distinct odor, which is why he doesn't understand it. Since his body odor is the essence of life, this demonstrates that even though he lacks a soul, he is still able to exist. This presents a substantial test of his information and understanding. If he does not have any odor, then there will be no evidence of his existence in the world. He gives it some thought, and comes to the conclusion that he will create the most incredible perfume ever made, so that people will acknowledge his existence and value. He moves towards Grasse. Upon arrival, Grenouille notices another girl's magical hormone aroma, which is just as intriguing as the Paris girl's. It comes from a female with chestnut hair. It's Laura Ritchie's, the beautiful and delicate daughter of a prominent and affluent businessman. Her lovely and pristine body has a lovely odor. Grasse is known as the city of scents, because flowers thrive in every field. Lavenders are harvested in the field, and delivered to perfumers for enrichment extraction of essential oil. When Grenouille has mastered this new ability, he embarks on his quest to create the world's best perfume. One night, he goes hunting for his first prey, a stinky female who dates her hormone buddy. Grenouille removes her clothes and places her immediately into the oil vat for refinement, with no hormone release. However, he is unable to extract her odor in the end. His next victim is to be a prostitute. Grenouille viciously murders her and tries cold in fleurage. He shaves her hair, soaks her body in coconut oil, and then distills the odor. This time, he is successful in retaining body odor. Meanwhile, Grasse is in a state of fear as one girl after another goes missing. As Baldini had told him, Grenouille's objective is to create 12 bottles of individual scents, refining the body odors of girls, in order to create the best ever perfume. On the lawn, a pair of twin sisters are playing hide and seek at Ritchie's birthday party, in her father's luxurious manner. Grenouille abducts the twins but abandons Ritchie's, determining she will be the 13th scent. He improves the technique this time by bathing the twin girls in coconut oil, wrapping them in cloth, and then distilling them. The new method extracts essential oil with a deeper aroma. The smells begin to demonstrate an enticing ability to change people's brains and moods. The enraged foreman who attempts to beat Grenouille changes his mind after smelling a perfume drop, and Grenouille requires additional body odor to fill the 12 bottles. So he continues his terrible slaughter of beautiful females, transforming Grasse into a horror town. People believe that a fearful hormone hunter is prowling around. As a result, curfews are enforced in the city, and security measures are strengthened. However, more girls are killed. Grenouille has finally finished filling the 12 bottles with 12 different scents, but he still has one more empty bottle to fill. Sadly, his final opponent is Ritchie's. One day, a safeguard runs in during a sermon in the church and shouts that the murderer has been apprehended. People walk out into the streets to rejoice, unaware that the man is only a scapegoat for law enforcement. Ritchie's father is doubtful, so he intends to ship his daughter away from Grasse. He takes Ritchie's to a roadside in the night before leaving. Grenouille follows her stinky aroma inside her chamber. He shaves her hair and eliminates her body odor. Grenouille achieves his ultimate goal. He succeeds in creating the world's best perfume. On the other hand, the prostitute victim's dog follows her scent to the location where her body was buried. And more bodies of the missing girls are discovered. Grenouille's heinous massacre is soon revealed. He is apprehended and tortured, and the death penalty is pronounced against him. The execution ground is filled with a furious throng on the day of his execution. Grenouille is restrained by shackles on his hands and chains around his legs. He clutches his bottle of magical perfume. When he removes the bottle lid, his entire body emits an enticing exotic aroma that calms the escorting guards. Grenouille dons the foreman's blue uniform, and hops into the blue luxury Ferrari conveyance provided by the escorting guards. When he arrives at the execution site, the enraged throng is enchanted by his entrancing odor. They look at him with awe and longing. When Grenouille approaches the guillotine, the executioner removes his mask, kneels in front of him, and declares to the throng that he is innocent. Grenouille puts a dab of perfume on his ruffled handkerchief, then waves it in front of the crowd to attract their attention. The audience goes completely silent for a minute as the enticing smell permeates the space, with their mouths gaping open in surprise. They welcome Grenouille into their midst and bestow the title of Hormone Angel on him. Even Richie's resentful father has forgotten about his desire for revenge. The fragrance endows Grenouille with the essence of purity and beauty, as well as igniting people's desires to be in love with one another. As a direct consequence of this, the foreman winds up being blamed for all of the killings, being convicted of them, and handed a death sentence. Grenouille goes back to Paris. He currently possesses the most powerful weapon, which is a scent that has the ability to influence people's desire for love as well as their hormones. If he were to use this scent effectively, it would undoubtedly grant him the power to go see and conquer the world. He decides to return to the wet fish market, which was his birthplace. He then empties the entire bottle of perfume over his head, at which point the starving and destitute people in the area go on a rampage, considering him an angel and swarm to consume him as their final meal. This is how he disappears from the face of the earth. The only things left are his clothes and an empty perfume bottle, from which one final drop of perfume falls. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.